are screenshots from the 4 different tabs that I had open on my cell phone within a 3-minute period when somebody said, can you pick a restaurant for us to go to for dinner? So the first thing I did was I opened up TripAdvisor and I put in Jamie Oliver, because you know how I feel about him, and I got the review. Now this review has some different text features on it. You see that there's like the map, there's the pictures, you can read the reviews and look at the stars. You need to know about the conventions, you have to have an idea of like who the reviewers are in order to interpret that page. So that's one way you can get the information. But immediately, I needed to know if people liked the place, but I also needed to know if it was somewhere I could get to. So I pop up Google Maps to find out where it is. And then I also wanted to make sure, like, you know, I'm not a huge fish eater, and that pictures of fish, so I want to pull up the menu. And a menu is a completely different kind of text type. One of the words on the menu is porchetta, and like, I've heard that before, but I can't remember what exactly that is, so I pulled up Wikipedia on it, and actually I wish I'd pulled up like Food TV or something on porchetta, because it would have had a picture. But anyway, within about maybe 40 seconds, I was trying to find one piece of information and I'd pulled up 4 different texts to do it. Have you ever done that? When you have to go Google something on your computer, do you have like one tab open and you read the whole thing and then you maybe open another tab and read the whole? No, like we are always looking for lots of different kinds of information when we're trying to make a decision or when we're trying to learn something new. Even if the text is what's on my phone, what's in my head, and what's on your facial expression when I'm talking to you about those things, I'm always trying to make meaning from a couple of different texts at a time in real life. So why don't we steal that thing that we're really good at, that we naturally gravitate towards, for new information or decision making in the classroom? Here's what that might look like. People often talk about the Canterbury Tales as one of those texts that's taught over and over again. It may not be taught at Windsor High School. And it's one of those texts that's taught over and over again in American high schools in general, and it's one of those texts kind of like Shakespeare that's written in this older dialect, even older than Shakespeare, and kids have a lot of trouble with the language. But they also have a lot of trouble understanding why they would read it in the first place. And so we need to build that engagement, we need to build the background, but we also need to scaffold in support for the vocabulary, for the sentence structures, for the ideas, and for the place names, and for the character names, so that those can just become easy for kids. Kind of like reading a series book where you learn all about the characters and the setting in volume 1, and by the time you get to the second one, you don't have to think about those anymore. It actually becomes easier to read it. Even if Lexile would say it's longer sentences, more vocabulary, kids have an easier time with the second, third, fourth book in a series than they did with the first. We want to make sure that if it's a target text we really want them to have access to, that they approach that text like it's the second or third one in the series, that they've already seen like the Facebook page for the Miller, who's one of the characters, that they've seen a map of where these characters are going, that they've seen a version of what this text looked like originally. If we think about what is it that I know as an expert reader of this text that I bring to my decisions about guesses and inferences or context clues, I want to think about how can I invite kids into all of that extra background knowledge that's in my little file of schema for making this text interesting and making it make sense. And I want to show those.